Whereas the City of Falls Church School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711B of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Falls Church City School Board hereby certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirement by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Dimick?
Yes.
Ms. Downs?
Yes.
Ms. Litton?
Aye.
Mr. Reitinger?
Yes.
And Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We will move now to 7.01, oh boy, School Board Appreciation, and I guess I'm turning this to Dr. Nooney.
Unless you want to appreciate yourself.
I think that's a little awkward.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to take a minute. As I think everybody here may or may not know, February is School Board Appreciation Month. And we are very fortunate, I think, in the City of Falls Church to have such an extraordinary school board of engaged folks that take your work very seriously. And I see day in and day out, not only with the questions you ask, and we could use the budget as the example. We had 38 or 39 questions with the budget. Your engagement around that, your engagement in all of the school policy that you set and the work that you do to ensure that we have strong leadership in our school division is greatly appreciated. And I think tonight was a great example for me in many ways to recognize you for the tone that you set also in the City of Falls Church for the students that you serve, which at the end of the day is what this is all about. The fact that we had 20 odd speakers here tonight from our high school to speak to all of you about potentially changing a policy is pretty extraordinary. You don't see that in very many places, and I think it's because you all have relationships with your constituents, you know your families, you know your students to a great extent as well, and there's a comfort level and an understanding of each other that'll make it easy for our students to be able to come to you, and I appreciate that and see that as your superintendent, feel very fortunate for that. So on behalf of the staff, the students alike, we wanted just to say happy School Board Appreciation Month to you. This evening on the walls, you'll see a number of things that are up for you from Thomas Jefferson, and we've got something from the high school, and we've got something from the middle school, and we've got Jesse Thackeray, and everybody's represented here tonight, Mount Daniel as well, just of appreciation for the work that you do day in and day out on behalf of our kids. So with that, I do have some certificates that I'd like to give to you tonight. And just, Greg, you're first, Mr. Anderson. It's from the Virginia School Boards Association Certificate of Recognition to Greg Anderson in appreciation of your dedication and service to excellence in education on behalf of the students of the Commonwealth of Virginia. School Board Appreciation Month, February 2020, and it's signed by Rodney Jordan, the president of VSBA, and also Gina Patterson, who is the executive director of VSBA. So, Mr. Anderson, thank you very much for your service. Appreciate it. Ms. Dimmock. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Ms. Downs. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. These are these slow, awkward moments. Ms. Litton. Thank you so much for your service. Appreciate you.
Heat it up just a minute for you there.
Mr. Reitinger, thank you very much for all you do. And Mr. Webb.
Ms. Downs.
That's Ms. Russell.
Oh.
Who's not here tonight.
And we have one missing. And awkwardly, we don't have one for Laura.
Oh, I gave one to Laura.
Okay. I missed it. Okay.
All right. Thank you all very much for everything you do.
Well, thank you. And at this point, I get to have the pleasure of honoring another member in this room. It is also, for those who don't know, Virginia School Board Association School Board Clerk Appreciation Week. And although we did warn Ms. Goodell we were going to do this, I feel like I need to emphasize that. I will also read that we have a certificate for you from the Virginia School Boards Association Certificate of Recognition, Marty Goodell, in appreciation of your dedication and service to excellence in education on behalf of the students of the Commonwealth of Virginia. School Board Clerk Appreciation Week, February 17th to the 21st, 2020. Also signed by Rodney Jordan, the president of VSBA, and Gina Patterson, the executive director. And a little something else that I get to give you on behalf of the board. With thanks.
Hey, Marty.
Thank you very much.
Mr.
It's a pleasure.
Chair Anderson, may I request that there be a picture taken of the board and the clerk
I
for
would-
posterity,
I
please?
would be happy to do that. Where do we
All right.
stand, John?
Perhaps over by
Right here?
the hands and the paws.
Marty in the middle with her flowers.
These really are beautiful.
And there's a card in there, so don't lose the card. It's kinda got lost.
No. Everybody's looking at John first.
Okay.
Now we'll look at you.
Here we go, 1, 2. Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yay.
As we're getting reset, I'll just say, Marty, personally, thank you very much for everything that you do to keep my job as chair squared up. Folks may not be aware, there's a lot of stuff that Marty does that makes my life a lot easier. So thank you very much. Oh, I know you do. And Ms. Russell asked that I pass her thank you as well and appreciation as well. So thank you. All right, the consent agenda, I would seek unanimous consent to approve the consent agenda as presented. Seeing no objections, so ordered. And we will move now to business on the agenda. Business item 9.01, 02, and 03, which are budget motions. So I would seek a motion related to the budget, unless Dr. Noonan, you have any final comments you want to?
I would be pleased to make just a quick final comment. First and foremost, I want to just thank a few people for their incredible work and support on the budget over this season. As you know, the budget isn't something you do in isolation, and it's not something that happens overnight. And there are two people in particular in the room tonight that I want to recognize. The first is Kristen Michael for her incredible work as our Chief Operating Officer, and Michelle Kopic, who's in the back as our Budget Director. Both Kristen and Michelle, on any given night, if you came into central office at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, were here burning the midnight oil, making sure that the budget was together and that all the questions got answered in a way that were easily understood and accessible for everyone. And I just want to take a quick second to thank them for their incredible work. I also want to take a second to recognize and thank William Bates, our Chief Academic Officer, and Tricia Minson, our Chief Legal Officer, for their incredible work supporting our budget as well. Both of them, along with Ms. Michael and Ms. Kopic, were instrumental in getting out into our schools, and the time that you all took also as board members getting into schools, listening to the feedback sessions with our staff, giving everyone an opportunity to give us a sense of where they thought we should go with the budget was really important. And also would like to thank the representatives from SEEK, PEAK, EEK, and our SAOs for their input on our budget as well. So I'm pleased tonight to be able to pass the superintendent's budget onto the school board as the school board's advertised budget, in hopes that it will meet with broad unanimity. So thank you very much for your continued support.
Thank you, Dr. Noonan. Before we do take any motions here, I would like to ask if there are any comments that anybody on the board would like to make before we do that. Mr. Reidinger.
Just briefly, and I've said this before, but I'd like to add my, and I'm sure the rest of the board's thanks to both Dr. Noonan and Michelle and Kristen, because it was a really wonderful set of materials that you produced for us. It enabled us to look at all the materials in full context and make a good judgment. And it turned out that the superintendent gave us a very good budget from the start, so I'm very pleased and wanted to thank you as well for what I'm sure were many, many, many hours of work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reidinger. Any other comments? If not, I would like to echo that and say thank you, because it is very obvious how much effort went into this and how much care went into this. The questions that we asked, we got very thorough, very detailed answers to it, and helped me understand the context overall and answer some tough questions and helping me make some choices. So thank you very much for all of the work that you and Ms. Kopic did, and the rest of the team as well. So. Unless there are any other final comments or questions, I would entertain a motion related to the operating fund budget. Mr. Reidinger.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Falls Church City School Board approve for submission to the city manager the advertised 2020-2021 operating fund budget in the amount of $54,594,282, which requires a city appropriation of $44,596,706, plus 50% of any additional general government tax revenue above the December projections as determined by the City Council FY 2021 budget guidance of 3.1% on December 9, 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Reidinger. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Litton. Ms. Goodell, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Dimick.
Yes.
Ms. Downs.
Yes.
Ms. Litton.
Yes.
Mr. Reitinger.
Yes.
And Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion.
Thank you very much. Next, we will move to 9.02, and I'll ask for any final comments on the food service budget. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion related to the food services budget. Ms. Downs.
I'd like to move that the Falls Church City School Board approve for submission to the city manager the advertised 2020-2021 food service budget in the amount of $1,103,600.
Thank you, Ms. Downs. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Dimick. Ms. Goodell, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Dimick.
Yes.
Ms. Downs.
Yes.
Ms. Litton.
Yes.
Mr. Reitinger.
Yes.
And Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. And then moving to our next item, 9.03. Are there any comments or questions on the Community Services Fund budget? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion related to that. Ms. Dimick.
Mr. Chair, I move that the school board approve for submission to the city manager the advertised 2020-21 Community Services Fund budget in the amount of $2,419,126, requiring a total city appropriation of $107,500.
Thank you, Ms. Dimick. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Ms. Goodell, will you call the roll, please?
Sure. Mr. Anderson?
Yes, thanks.
Ms. Dimick?
Yes.
Ms. Downs?
Yes.
Ms. Litton?
Yes.
Mr. Reitinger?
Yes.
And Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. With those motions, the superintendent's proposed budget becomes the school board to advertise budget. And I get to take a visit up to City Hall on the 9th. All right, moving on to our next item on the agenda, 9.04, school board liaison assignments for